Everybody, this is John Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on June the 5th in the year of our Lord 2026, and I've got some great information for you tonight. Let me just jump over here to my Rumble channel. Here we go. Murtech on Rumble. This is the live stream we're talking about tonight, episode 1939. It says upcoming, but as you know, you're actually watching it here. So let me click onto that. Hi, Debbie BS. Thank you for joining us. I'll get back to you here in a moment. But let's slide down here and click the Show More button to expand out the description box. We have information from Dan Bongino, ACLJ Sekulow, Benny Johnson, and Wendy Bell Radio. But before we jump into that, let me get some shout outs here to DM Patriot 1956. Bitch. I May Lyak just started following my channel. Vija Video 7880 just started following my channel. Graham N just started following my channel. Howdy by God just started following my channel. Murphy's Law 1 just started following my channel. Murphy's Law came from Wendy Bell Radio when I did one of my specials today. I went ahead and rated Wendy's channel, and Murphy's Law was over there, and I was talking back and forth to him, and he came over and followed my channel. So thank you, Murphy's Law. OT1234 just started following my channel. Colin Hops 23 just started following my channel. And Hio Miney H Lomia just started following my channel. Sorry if I butchered your handles there, but thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in, and I hope you enjoy the content. All right, Debbie BS reposted my episode 1938. DS Houghton commented on my daily news wrap-up. Ophelia 0503 and Viper Senior commented on my episode 1938. Debbie BS commented on my extra 721A and 721B. So thank you very much, folks, for reposting my videos and your comments. I enjoy reading your feedback, and I definitely appreciate your support. So let me give this a thumbs up. Let's jump back here to my channel, and I dropped a video from USA Watchdog, Stop Voter Fraud or Lose the Republic. This is USA Watchdog Greg Hunter, Dr. Jerome Powell. Very good information, very good information. All right, now it says we're live. So let's jump over here. All right, let me pause that. Slide down here, close out the chat box again. Okay, here we go. Dan Bongino is another scandal about to pop. Episode 2530. Let's see what he has to say.
Folks, this topic is getting exhausting, but I'm telling you in the most objective way possible as your friend. Even to the lefties who hate me, pretend I'm your friend for a minute. I'm not. I never will be, but just pretend. You can pretend you're good at acting. I mean, look, you had Bill Clinton in there, right? Check this out. You guys have the worst slate of candidates I have ever seen in my life on the Senate side. I'm sorry. You may say that's a subjective opinion. It's an objective fact. What is the red line for you guys? When is enough enough? You got a guy in Michigan campaigning with a guy who said that October 7th rapes really don't matter to him. You got a guy in Texas running on 6 genders and a meatless campaign in freaking Texas, the Talafrico cat. And then you've got this guy in Maine, Plattner, who I thought the Nazi tattoo thing was bad enough. And now there's a bunch of allegations coming out and there are allegations. I get it. Like, this stuff happens in politics. But like, what's the red line for you? A bunch of people, I guess he dated or somewhere, like, man, this guy's really weird. Like, stay away and whatever. What is enough for you guys? And the thing is, it just keeps coming out. I saw this compilation this morning. It was this Western Lensman, Hat Tip, the great Western Lensman on X. Here's a compilation of every time the media has tried to give U.S. Senate candidate for the Democrats in Maine, Graham Plattner, Nazi tattoo guy, an opportunity to get out in front of the next bombshell. after this last one just dropped. And every time he's like, well, I don't know, man, maybe something else, but it's just going to be a tax. Check this out.
I'm wondering, are there other skeletons from your past that still may emerge in this race?
No.
But the GOP is going to dig up everything and more that they can.
Yeah. And probably lie at some point. I mean,
Is there something new you want to get ahead of?
no.
People have to take you at your word that that's true and that there's nothing else. Is that what you are saying?
Yes.
Folks, what was to the Democrats listening? Again, I'm not your friend. I'm not your buddy, but we can all pretend. We can all pretend. We can all do a Barney the Purple Dinosaur, right? We can all sing around camp songs, roast marshmallows. Just pretend I'm your buddy for a minute. What's the red line for you with this guy? Anyone have any ideas? Is it like maybe it comes out tomorrow that he was involved in the Manson murders or something like that? He wasn't even born. It doesn't matter. Like, what is the red line for you guys? When do you say, all right, like this is kind of, I thought the Nazi tattoo thing was enough. Apparently not. Call me crazy. And by the way, if there is a candidate thinking about running on the conservative MAGA Republican ballot who is a Nazi sympathizer with a Nazi stormtrooper tattoo, I would say the exact same thing. I think my bona fides prove that. Holy Moses, man. What the hell? What is enough for, what's the next shoe to drop? It's like this guy drops, forget about a shoe. Everywhere you walk with bare toes, someone drops a freaking cinder block on him. Be like, oh, that hurt. What is enough? Okay, I've had enough of that. Reminds me of that scene from Friends with the Matthew Perry character. And the phone's ringing. And who's it, Joey, the other guy? The phone's ringing and they're just sitting there. And he looks at him and goes, that'll stop if you pick it up. This will stop if you just stop running Nazi sympathizers. You have a choice coming up in November. I'm not forfeiting anything. Doomers, gloomers, grifters, bums, liberals, media types. It's over. The Republicans are going to get smoked in the midterms. Yeah, if we don't show up, they're going to get smoked. I'm not forfeiting anything. I am forfeiting nothing. The Democrats are in total disarray, shittiest candidates I've ever seen. And by the way, the people on our side, or pretending to be on our side, trying to tell you, don't show up, nothing is happening, constantly ignore lucky Trump, who just continues to get lucky. It happened again. Do you have that CNBC clip, Rick Santel? There he is. Lucky Trump. I haven't played blackjack in a really long time. I'm itching. President Trump, this is my personal appeal to you. Because you air quotes lucky all the time. Can you please just get behind the dealer and rub the chips or something? The luckiest guy I've ever seen. These results just keep piling in. It's only luck, folks. It's nothing the administration, tax cuts, they didn't matter. Deregulation, that didn't matter. Oh, Trump telling the United States manufacturing base we're open for business. None of that mattered. None of that led to this jobs number that popped this morning that blew past expectations by more than double. Check this out.
Data is out. The May jobs report. 172,000. Is there any doubt that this anecdotal evidence about a good labor market has been very correct? That is a really strong number. And last month, we had a revision from 115,000 to 179,000, which means the 2-month revision has got to be over 90,000. That is a good number. Even manufacturing posted a 7,000 job gain. So 172,000, that would be the best number since 185,000 in March. These are solid numbers.
I know you guys have connections at the White House and stuff. Can you just get the president, seriously, Mr. President, we'll go to, what's that casino down here? Just Coconut Creek, or there's the Seminole Hard Rock too. Can we you don't have to stay. I know your Secret Service and staff and all. Just can you blow on the chips or something? Amazing. The economy is exploding. What is it? It's all luck? It's not like the guy's been in office 10 minutes. It's been a year and a half. You now live in a country finally with a sealed border, sealed, 0 illegal migrants, again, admitted into the country. You live in the safest country, numbers, homicide rate, crime rates, homicide rate, raw homicide numbers. In modern American history, by a long shot, the economy is adding jobs at a rapid pace. You've got our manufacturing base being rebuilt, our military being rebuilt. And all these people can do in the bullshit media is complain all the time. It's got to be luck. It's got to be luck. This is the luckiest guy I've ever seen, man. It's a Friday. Here's more good news because I see the AI doomers out there too. Now, folks, disclosure because it matters. I'm an investor in AI because I believe in it. I put my money where my mouth is. I believe in free speech. There's two things I passionately with my money believe in. Free speech, I believe there is no future in cancel culture. You'll have economy left. You can't have a segregated economy where conservatives can't get a bank account, can't speak. You can't. It's going to suffocate itself, cancel culture. And I also believe in artificial intelligence because I've seen the power of it. There's risks, of course. But listen to me. I told you this. It's a serious time. Like Captain Emotional Roller Coaster on the show. Nothing brain tattooed me more and scarred me more than going through that cancer thing and sitting at MD Anderson and watching these kids with cancer come in. I can't even describe it to you. It's the most horrifying thing. Like I said, I was in my late 40s. I don't want to die. My golden rules don't get dead. But I can't say I didn't live a full life. Thank you, God, for keeping me around as long as you did. Kids have not had that. Folks, if this artificial intelligence explosion that's leading to this growing economy, yes, there are downsides. I understand. If this can save millions of lives from people who have a terminal diagnosis of everything from, cancer to ALS to Alzheimer's, if we can fix this, isn't it our moral obligation to take a shot? Did you see this article from Axios this morning? For all the doomers out there, just in the last few months, Axios AM, medicine's hot streak. This is due to AI. An experimental drug by Eli Lilly, which targets multiple myeloma by editing cells inside the body, showed a 100% response rate in early phase clinical trials. Imagine you have myeloma and you're ready to die and you find out this is on the horizon due to AI. Wow, that's interesting. That's not it. There's more. A small early stage study found a gene editing therapy could potentially permanently lower cholesterol levels after just one infusion, opening the door to one and done heart disease prevention. Wow, that's pretty fascinating. Wait, there's more, like an infomercial. There's a trial that resulted in hepatitis B treatment found it was a functional cure for 20% of patients who received it. Imagine living with hepatitis and 1 in 5 people are cured because of this. Folks, it's a Friday. We did this. You would thank the Lord. Thank you, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for letting me be alive at this time. You live in the most prosperous time in human history, in the now. And it's not due to luck. It's due to policy. It's due to sound regulation, light regulation, keeping money in your pocket through tax cuts. However, a little piece of, we got to get our asses in gear a little bit too. Unfortunately, the Save America Act, which would institute basic voter protection around the country, again, did not make it through yesterday. I want to give you kind of a balanced approach to the news too. It's not the president's fault. He's already told people it's going to save America. The U.S. Senate just rejected the Save America Act. Hat tip Eric Daughtry as part of a budget reconciliation, 48-50. Folks, requiring voter ID and proof of citizenship, it's not hard. It's not hard. I don't understand why we can't just get this through. And I've already told you, if we don't scrap at a minimum the filibuster as it exists now and make it a talking filibuster, we're never going to get this through. And if we lose the presidential election, the House and the Senate, it's going to be really hard when they dump the filibuster first to stop just the avalanche of shitty policies coming our way. Now, we are living, as I said yesterday, in a bifurcated country, folks. I asked the question yesterday, and I got a lot of feedback on yesterday's show. We had a great audience. I said, listen, is this country headed for a permanent split? And the answer, unfortunately, I think is yes, it is. It's on ideological grounds. Folks, people are piling out of leftist blue states at rates we have not seen in human history. It is easy to get up and leave now. The advent of homework, I think, COVID, for all the awful things, a lot of people who are working in the services space set up home offices, set up offices that were small, set up these like workspace type offices where you just rent a thing and they can move. They're not like married to a 50-story IBM building, whatever, in downtown Manhattan anymore. They're just not. You are going to see moving forward an ideologically divided country where blue states they're basically going to burn themselves to the ground. And one of the reasons that the media is not going to stop them is because they're ideologically captured, folks. The media are full of lying communists, and they don't want to change. Put up that chart. Christina Wong put this out the other day. This ideologically split country, red America, blue America, is only going to get worse because as blue America collapses, liberals in the media will provide cover for blue America and blame it on red America, even though it's blue policies. That's why you see this. Trust in the media. Down 53 points from 1972 to 2025. How the hell do you drop 53 points trust in the media when your only job is to get people facts and you can't even do that? It's not even hard. Just collect and aggregate the data and give it to people to make a decision. Folks, nothing is going to stop this until the media decides to tell blue states the truth. And the truth is this. Blue states suck and people want to leave. And blue cities suck and people want to leave because of blue state policies. Confiscatory taxation, oppressive government regulation, woke DEI bullshit, failing public schools, bankrupt government spending. This is not hard. Now, you see people trying to change the media. You've got the new crew over at CBS. CBS is trying to bring the station back, the broadcast outlet, to a more moderate, fact-based journalism perspective. Everybody at CBS is losing their minds. Scott Pelley at 60 Minutes. You got all these CBS people leaking to the media. I can't believe they don't want us to be communists anymore with the hammer and sickle in our office. And yet, when you produce receipts like this clip, remember this infamous, remember the infamous Sir clip, Leslie Stahl, that hack at 60 Minutes? And you say, guys, you ever going to apologize for this? This is why left-wing blue state America will never change, because you've got people like Leslie Stahl providing cover for blue state America, and blue state America still believes Donald Trump was not spied on as a candidate and president, when I'm telling you from firsthand experience, miss a lock, folks, it 100% happened. This is not journalism. This is editorializing. This is why blue state America is locked in a death spiral Truman Show where they're all acting for each other. Check this out.
The biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign.
There's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is. It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes. And we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify that.
It's been totally verified.
No.
It's been, just go down and get the papers. They spied on my campaign. They got caught.
No.
And then they went much further than that, and they got caught. And you will see that, Leslie. And you know that, but you just don't want to put it on the air.
As a matter of fact, I don't know that.
Okay.
Guys, yes, keep that. How did you know I was going to go to the chat? Who did the sir emoticon thingy? That we did? I don't even remember all the emojis we have. And I mean, I obviously know about the Mutleys, Karate Man, all this other stuff. There's a sir emoji. Light it up. Sir. There's no evidence of that. Yeah, Leslie, there is. You want to give me a jingle? We can chat about it. There's a ton of evidence. I actually wrote about it in my books. I footnoted it actually, but left-wing articles too, even from CNN. So look at that chat. Now you wonder why the country is split in red states and blue states, and it's just getting worse. I promise you, the country would be a tinge of red-leaning purple. Because you're always going to have some Democrats around who live their lives in emotion instead of reality. It's fine, whatever. We're a caring country, and some people just don't want to accept reality. They just want a tolerance sticker on their car. This country would be even New York, I think, would have the potential to go purple if the media would just tell people the truth. Donald Trump was spied on. You increase taxes in a state, people leave. Public schools are failing our kids. We have some of the worst education levels in the organized, economically developed world. If they would just tell people the truth, nobody would vote this one. No sane person. That's why, again, trust in the media is in the can. Imagine this passing for modern journalism. Did you see this interview with Dana White? You know Dana from the UFC, great guy. He's always been very nice to me and my family. They're doing an event on the White House grounds to celebrate the country, a little combat sports. We love that, right? UFC coming up this weekend. It's going to be a cool thing. It's, the 250th. It's a national celebratory moment. There was a piece in the Wall Street Journal the other day from a guy who doesn't even like President Trump, who's like, hey, if the UK during its, downturn could celebrate its jubilee, then the United States in this time should be celebrating its 250th. We made it this far, and we're still the greatest country on earth. Thank you, Jesus Christ. Why does media people keep crapping on the country? Because Donald Trump's in office. That's it. There is no other motive other than to be, they're the anti-communists. We're the anti-communists. They're the anti-communists. Imagine asking Dana White a question like this, comparing like Hitler and everything to combat sports. What kind of stupid ass correlation is this? Check this out.
If you go back in history, you see sports has in times been used by authoritarian governments like Mussolini to show power, to show strength, to show control. Do you worry about the confluence of this sport in particular and the Trump administration sort of being intertwined?
I don't think
like people might say, look, Trump's using the same playbook as a Mussolini or a Putin, right? Putin's into judo, right? And he uses this as a way to show he's the strong man. He's the man. Do you see Trump using that same playbook or no?
In politics, that's the way it's always worked. It's not just Trump. It's been like that since the beginning of time, and it will be till the end of time. It's not just one guy or one administration. It's everybody.
Folks,
she didn't like that answer. She wanted him to pound. That's the media. They're so lopsided, so biased, and you can tell. I haven't watched the evening news for, probably 30 years, 40 years. Back then, I could tell they were lying to me. It's like, this is bullshit. I remember during the Vietnam War. Oh, it was a wonderful thing. It was a wonderful thing. They used to have like a scoreboard. Today there were 127 American troops killed, but there were 948 Vietnamese troops killed. But then as soon as Nixon got in office, it was Nixon's war then. That's when all the rioting started. When Nixon got in office, it was Nixon's war. Even though LBJ started it. Unbelievable. So, there you have it. Let me click on the Rumble link and show you this video. It does come from the Dan Bongino show. This is the video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right. Excuse me. Let's jump back here. And Debbie BS, Susie Poll 2016, and San154 is following us. They're emptying the blue states. Oh, the blue states on purpose, yeah? I think so. Could very well be. All right, let's jump down. Thanks for your input there, San154. Okay, let's see what ACLJ Sekulow, American Center for Law and Justice, all eyes on major Senate vote against Trump. Isn't that amazing? There's a lot of rhinos in there. Let's check this out.
Republicans, in a bipartisan effort, if you will, vote to end the war in Iran. You may have seen that, this sort of, I guess you'd say, a ceremonial vote in some way, Will, because there's not a lot really that can get done.
Well, we'll see what happens when it gets to the Senate and what kind of language goes there. But it's also not overwhelming enough that it would override a presidential veto. it is still something that would have to go to the president's desk. And it's not like all of Congress has decided to turn on the president and say, oh, we're done with this war. Here's the headlines, though, you're seeing. And so we thought it'd be interesting to break it down and tell you what really is going on, because this is NBC News. House votes to rebuke Trump over war with Iran. And it is technically correct, right? They did pass a symbolic war powers resolution over the objections to the war in Iran. But it's only 4 Republicans that broke with the party that went over there. And you can kind of expect one of them, Thomas Massie, that broke with Republicans, decided to vote with Democrats to rebuke him. He has been very vocal about his opposition
and
to
is
this.
on the way out. So he has no reason to vote the other way.
Tom Barrett from Michigan, Warren Davidson from Ohio, and Brian Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania, someone who's been antagonistic to the president on many issues as well. So the press is going to run with this and make everyone think the House has turned against the president. It's this rebuke of the president. And yes, it is on paper. It is that. But I think, Jordan, even where I want to take this conversation even broader is how important the midterms are, because they are also going to use anything the House does, even if it's a rebuke of the president, as a propaganda piece in the media to try and make the world think that even his own party has turned against him.
Yeah, when it's Thomas Massie, we know Warren Davidson. I know him from Ohio. He's very conservative, not quite a Massie figure, but thinks he has that view that if you're going to war, you need a resolution. I mean, that's just his constitutional review. He's an attorney, and I believe maybe even a former judge. So that's kind of like his view of the originalist kind of saying, why did we get around from that? And I can respect that. I disagree with that based off of history that we've allowed, president after president to do this. But the key is these headlines are ridiculous. NPR saying the House passes war power resolution in this bipartisan vote. It sounds like the entire House of Representatives. And then you read the small print and you do the math, Wilden, you talk about 4 Republicans, 2 of which actually 3 of the 4 who vote against the president regularly.
When you look at this vote, one, I think it's also interesting. Okay, the Democrats finally got enough Republicans to join them to pass this. They've been trying to do this for a while. But at the end of the day, it is in a ceasefire right now because of the negotiations that are ongoing. Yes, the military is responding to attacks and missiles and things, but they are currently in the stage of negotiation. And they would never say that, oh, if Iran fires a ballistic missile towards a U.S. vessel, no matter where it is in the world, you can't shoot it down.
Yeah, I think we actually haven't never addressed this, which there was a lot of controversy around the holy days, whether it was the Jewish holy days, the Christian holy days, or the Muslim holy days, about the sites, the religious sites being closed during that time. They're reopened, by the way. Israel is kind of back in business,
right,
if you will. So that whole narrative of, they were controlling, Christians from getting... Look, what did that prove? That proved that all of that was actually true. They were trying to protect people. And here, when they hit a ceasefire about a month ago, they reopened all those holy sites, which again had not been open. But did you see that in the press? No, you didn't see that covered anyway.
Once again, you see for a vast majority of the Middle East, things are kind of back to normal as far as their day-to-day lives, except for places like Kuwait, that their main airport terminal got struck by both missiles and drone fire. You can see the video. Actually, people were in the airport that were killed. There were 60 injured. So once again, I know people that are in Kuwait that are having to deal with the issues of that surrounding the airport travel when it comes to the fact the main terminal at their international airport was struck in the middle of Kuwait. But when you look at all of this, and you look at what the Democrats do, they are clearly trying to do this as a posturing thing. They finally got it across the finish line here in the midterm year. They are trying to make it a midterms issue. They're also trying to show that they can stand up to the president. They are going to run on this regardless of the outcome. At the same time, it is kind of like, okay, we are in the middle of these negotiations and ceasefire. Right. Do they really want, take the politics aside, do they really want there to be no leverage over the Iranians in these negotiations? That's kind of what pushing this at this time means. It also goes to show you they don't believe that this is actually going to have any effect. It shows that they know it's symbolic. They know that doing this is going to give them the headlines and the attack ads they need for the midterms, but they know it's not really going to put any real limitations on the president at this point.
This is a political vote. And the truth is we're at the midst of settling this. I mean, the president isn't trying to provoke Iran, and he said, listen, and I think the Lebanese example is perfect. How great would this be that Hezbollah is out of southern Lebanon, is no longer a threat, not to just the cities and towns like Sfat and others that are right on the border there, but also for Haifa, which was in range, and their oil and all the shipping, that was in range for Hezbollah very easily. Now, Iran could hit Haifa with ICBMs, but when you had a paramilitary force that could use much cheaper weapons to do so, the missiles always rain down in North Israel. It's been a lot, like you talked about. I mean, it was impossible to keep some places open because of the amount of incoming. So this is really what I'd like to say. It's up to the Lebanese government to say, we're going to allow Lebanese military and our forces to get into direct conflict with Hezbollah. Yeah. So are they willing to risk Lebanese lives to stop Hezbollah from continuing to fire on Israel?
The president right now is in these negotiations. And what is his goal of these negotiations? His stated goal is to ensure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon. We know that under the Obama deal, they were cheating. They were enriching uranium. And what else were they doing? They were developing the ballistic missiles to hit Europe, to hit the United States assets around the globe. That's what they were doing. They used that time to build up and get stronger, and they used sanctions relief to do it. What these talks are supposed to be is the polar opposite of that, to be something that is strong, that there are actual ways that you can check on this, and that it ensures the safety of the American people. That's what President Trump's stated goal is. Now, we here would prefer a free Iran led by the Persian people and it restored to greatness.
I was very hopeful that we were headed towards
that. But when you also start to see things like the president of Iran earlier this week, there were reports that he submitted his letter of resignation to the Ayatollah, and now they're trying to deny it. But that the internal discord, that is where you see an opening that naturally could lead to an overthrow of the government.
If a bubble up happens where they just have this unsettling, maybe that could still happen. I know that not all hope is lost. That little bit of the piece that I was really excited about, to be honest, that maybe we would have a very free Iran. It doesn't seem to be right now in the cards, but you're right. Maybe there is still hope that the people can do what they need to do. And then we also had the same situation, very similar, I guess, in some ways, in a lesser sense, of what's going on in Lebanon.
All right, there you have it. So this resolution goes through, and again, it would have to go to Donald Trump's desk, and he'd have to sign it to say, okay, so what, we're just supposed to turn around and walk away? Is that it? Okay. That's the Democrats and rhinos for you. They cannot stand Donald Trump, an outsider, to be successful. That's what it is right there. They want to make him look as bad as they possibly can so this doesn't happen again. Unbelievable. All right, let me click on the Rumble link and show you that this video does come from American Center for Law and Justice. It's the video I shared with you. I've given them a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here. And I want to mention again this chat here from San154. They are emptying the blue states on purpose. They want to put something or someone. They want to put out someone or something else there, so that they make people leave by implementing bad policies. That very well may be possible. This may be the beginning of the 15-minute cities. You know, break New York City up into segments of 15-minute cities. 15-minute communities, whatever. Could very well be. Okay, let's see what Benny Johnson has to say. And Nancy Pelosi snaps has screaming on camera meltdown after being asked about her January 6th crimes. Okay, let's check it out.
It's been nearly 7 years since January 6th, the day that nearly ended our democracy, because of actions like this. Patriotic Americans holding American flags, walking politely and peacefully down the hallways of Congress, obeying the orders of police officers, obeying the velvet ropes and the stanchions, and taking selfies by the historic monuments. If BLM had stormed the Capitol, what do you think would have happened to the monuments or statues or artwork? Let me ask you, would the Capitol still be standing today? Nobody's ever quite explained what happened on that day, why there's so many curious videos of, here's for instance, a rioter, very dangerous rioter, right? He's been handcuffed, okay? So this guy's clearly going to jail. Oh God, and all the cops are just taking his handcuffs off, and then they're fist bumping him afterwards, like they know him. Like, look at that. Well, since when do you fist bump the guy you just arrested? Unless he's an undercover federal agent and he was sent there in order to entrap MAGA, which is exactly what's going to happen. Nancy Pelosi, in this clip, whilst January 6th was ongoing, told us exactly what the op was. Listen to this.
They told him they don't have the resources to protect him here. So at the moment, he is not coming, but that could change.
Oh, he comes, I'm going to punch him out. This is
Oh,
my
wow,
moment.
I would pay to see
I've
that.
been waiting for this, for trespassing on the Capitol grounds. I'm going to punch him out, and I'm going to go to jail, and I'm going to be happy.
So Pelosi, in her senility, was trying to act tough here, right? Kind of like Ilhan Omar with the squirt gun attack, right? It's all designed for her to act tough, but she forgot, because of the vodka, I think, to keep her yapper shut, because she told you exactly what she was planning on: trespassing at the Capitol. What did they charge 99% of everybody on January 6th with? Trespassing at the Capitol. That's all they had. Trespassing is what everybody got. Those are the charges. Some people did other things. Some people did something, but like most of them got just trespassing charges. So why would anybody ever say that line? I've been waiting for trespassing at the Capitol. What a strange thing to say. Everybody focused on Nancy Pelosi saying, I'm going to punch out Trump. But no, it was weird. It was like
Responsibility.
Pelosi saying she's been waiting for trespassing at the Capitol, as though they had it pre-planned what they were going to charge people with. Here's Pelosi saying it's my fault.
You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
Question.
They thought that they had sufficient
No,
resources.
that is not a question of how they have been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
So Nancy Pelosi says, I take responsibility. Well, that's very interesting. What a unique thing to say. Maybe somebody should ask a follow-up question about that. This is a reporter for Lindell TV. Her name's Allison Steinberg. And she goes up and does like man on the street interviews on Capitol Hill. And she has Nancy Pelosi's number. It's really funny. She's done some hysterical interviews of Nancy Pelosi where she asked about Nancy Pelosi's behavior on January 6th. Nancy Pelosi snapped on her.
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions. Thank you.
Okay, well, here you go. So Allison is asking these questions because Nancy Pelosi is on tape saying that it's her fault that there were no National Guard there. And now there's a follow-up to that hilarious viral clip. Nancy Pelosi, once again, getting questioned about that clip, and then she snaps and loses her mind. Here we go.
Hi, Congresswoman Pelosi. Last time I asked you about January 6th, why you turned the National Guard away on January 6th, you told me to shut up and that I was repeating Republican talking.
Shut up again because you're speaking lies. And I'm
You're right here on the record saying,
no,
I'll admit it.
No, I did not admit it. The president never sent would agree to send the National Guard. Don't waste your time or mine on you.
Why was your daughter filming you on January 6th?
Why don't you get away?
These are just questions the American people want answers to.
No, you know what? I don't even think you're a real journalist. You work for Mike the Pillow Man.
Actually, I do, and we're very proud.
I don't consider that journalism. Mike the Pillow Man, that's not journalism. I don't have any reason to talk to you.
He'd love to give you a free
I want you
pillow.
to record this. I want people to know that you're not a real journalist. You work for Mike the Pillow Man, and all you do is spout untruths.
Okay.
Get away
You
from
can
me.
insult me all you
Get
want,
away
but
from me.
Thank you, guys.
thank you, Congresswoman. We'll give you my pillow so you can have a nice sleep tonight, okay? Take care.
All right, let's break this down. So she shows Nancy Pelosi this video. She shows her this video of Nancy
I
Pelosi
take
saying,
responsibility for not having them. Just prepare for more.
"I take responsibility." So you're showing Nancy Pelosi her own video.
Not admitted.
So what's so like offensive about that to Pelosi? Pelosi, who's still wearing a Ukraine pin, unbelievable, snaps and says, I don't want to talk to you. And then she says, "You need to get out of my space. Get away from me," she says, by pointing her finger and like jabbing at the reporter. Look at that. "Get away from me." What a world. And then she gets trolled by saying, "I'll give you a pillow." Look at the look. You got that Biden look in her eye. You got that Biden look. Oh, what just happened? It's so funny. I love it. Whole lot of good all the security around Pelosi does. Why does she have security exactly? She doesn't have any position of power anymore. She's like 86 years old. She's retiring. So what's going on here? What a joke. But here's the major takeaway from this. It's really funny. Use promo code Pelosi for free shipping on your MyPillow. This is going viral. This is pretty great. So what I find amazing about this style of reporting on Capitol Hill, which has become very popular, and I need to go hire my own. We need to hire our own Capitol Hill reporter because these clips are just such gold. They never get asked a tough question. You can see that this is like the end result of this is that they never get asked a tough question. They never have to answer. They're so insulated. There's 10,000 reporters on Capitol Hill in America. None of them would ever dare ask Pelosi about a thing she did on camera when she said that she takes responsibility for January 6th. On camera. Isn't that remarkable? The moment that they get a little bit of pushback for their own words, they snap, start lashing out, jabbing fingers and screaming. It's great. People need to see more of this. It's awesome, actually. Well done, as ever. Way to go, Mike Pillow Man and Allison. I love this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Do we need more of this? Should we get our own Capitol Hill reporter? I think we should. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. It's been nearly 7
some of the things that I generally talk about more often on my show. See, this entire week, I've been trying to keep it as Wendy bellish as possible. I've been focusing on the politics and the culture. I've been going back and forth with Brock, the producer, about, hey, he sends me stories like these are great breaking political stories. We've been talking about the California elections. We've been talking about all these various things. For my show, yeah, I do talk about politics, obviously, but I would say, I think yesterday I said it was about 60%. I would say it's actually probably closer to, at least the new variation that starts next week, is going to be about 40 or 50% politics, with at least a good chunk of it being faithful, Christian, if you will, as well as some conspiracy theories. Look, here's the thing about conspiracy theories. People say, oh my gosh, you're a conspiracy theorist. And they say it, in a derogatory fashion. And I think to myself, whenever I hear that, I think, yeah, well, should we educate them on why the concept of conspiracy theories is considered a pejorative now? Why it was the conspiracy theory behind the conspiracy theories that ties all the way back to the JFK assassination, of course, the CIA's involvement, and how they used this pejorative, derogatory, what's the best way to put it? They were gaslighting us. Because here's the reality. We know, all of us know, that there are conspiracies. There are people doing bad things together, conspiring together to commit actions that are sometimes evil, sometimes greedy, sometimes simply criminal, but they are conspiring. And a lot of those things, especially as they pertain to our government or other governments or other grand organizations that aren't governments, we don't have all of the information. So all we have are theories. So when I talk about conspiracy theories, I don't think of it in negative terms. I think of it as, there's crazy stuff happening and it's good to talk through it. Before Edward Snowden, I would say that there was a lot more debunking going on, especially as it pertained to, for example, the 9/11. You had a very small conspiracy theory camp and a whole bunch of people that have been taught, oh no, you could trust the government, you could trust everybody. And then Edward Snowden, his revelations came out. And I think a lot of people really opened their eyes to the idea that, maybe there's something here. And then they started looking at things like 9/11, and they started thinking, you know what? I'm not ready to go down that road, that it's an inside job and this, that, or the. But man, that building 7, that really is sort of makes you say, Well, I would argue that today, here in the United States of America, in 2026, more and more people are saying, Of course, there was the whole pandemic, the vaccines, quote unquote vaccines, the mRNA jabs. That's gotten a lot of people thinking. But then it takes a turn. And this happens. It's like a cycle. And of course, this cycle is more noticeable than others because there are more people that are talking in conspiratorial terms. We're hitting that cycle where, it's like ebb and flow. And now we're getting to that point to where almost everything is viewed as a conspiracy. There are those out there that, and a growing number of them, this is not just burgeoning, it is emerging. It's legit to where pretty much, at least by their thinking, pretty much everything is part of some evil grand plan by the New World Order, the powers and principalities, the globalist elite cabal, the Illuminati, the aliens, the demons, whatever you want to call them. Whoever your boogeyman is, there are people out there that are pushing this. And one of the reasons that I get into conspiracy theories is to kind of push back against the conspiracy theorists. I'm not trying to debunk them by any means. I'm just saying, look, there probably is some, or almost certainly is, some very disturbing aspects to the rollout, the launch, the planning of the COVID-19 pandemic. There probably almost certainly is something nefarious hidden behind the development of these vaccines that seem to be causing so much damage.
But that doesn't mean that Paul McCartney died in a car accident in the 1960s and was replaced by a doppelganger who happened to be able to sing better than he could, who looked better than he did, and who's still alive today, all for the sake of keeping the Beatles' money machine going. It's okay to believe in some conspiracy theories, and it's okay to pan others. That's what I like to do on my show. And again, you can get a taste of it by going to jdrucker.com right now and checking out the most recent link. Save it for later because it's a video. It's like 8 minutes. But otherwise, yes, we're talking conspiracy theories today. All show. Get ready. Buckle up. Come back after the break to the Wendy Bell radio program.
All right. There we go. Let's move this on up there. And, the thing is, it bugs me when they use conspiracy and conspiracy theories and they get it confused. Conspiracy is a legitimate thing. There was a conspiracy that they did against Donald Trump when they planted all those documents in Mar-a-Lago and claimed he had just taken these documents and thrown them on the floor. Okay? There was more than one person that was involved in that. That is a conspiracy. Okay? Conspiracy theory is something like, okay, there was more than one shooter in the JFK assassination. Okay? Now that's a conspiracy theory because it goes against the narrative. All right? Donald Trump was spied on. That's a conspiracy theory because it goes against the narrative. There are a lot of the conspiracy theories that have come true. Okay? It was a conspiracy theory that the 2020 election was rigged and Donald Trump, it was stolen from Donald Trump. But I believe that's true. The conspiracy was that the 2020 election took a lot of people to do that. That was a conspiracy. But when it goes against the narrative that it was the safest and most honest and secure election in U.S. history, that's the conspiracy theory that they call it, to try to get your attention. Well, that's just bullshit. It's a conspiracy theory, when actually it was a legitimate conspiracy to steal the election from Donald Trump. Okay. All right. Let me get it back up here and let's listen to this next segment. I'm just going to play a couple of segments here. And yeah, Murphy's Law 31. Sorry you missed my AM show, but actually I had 3 of them. So if you want to check what we got there on my channel, some good stuff. All right, let's get back here to Wendy Bell and see what this says in the next segment, and I will include this in my daily news wrap-up.
So reports.
Here we go.
So there are different types of conspiracy theories out there. And I would say that probably the easiest is the interesting one. The one that's not like earth-shattering. It's not like, oh my gosh, we're trying to explain the mysteries of the world or why this country is doing poorly or that group of people is doing better or whatever. Sometimes a conspiracy theory is just interesting. And one such conspiracy theory is called the Voynich manuscript. For those who want to look it up, it's Voynich. The Voynich manuscript. It's 240 pages. Okay. It's illustrated. It's a codex that has words in it, except for the last over 100 years, nobody has been able to figure out what those words are. It's written in a language that nobody seems to know. Some thought it was a cipher. They were even trying to crack it. Turing, World War II Enigma code guy. They had him on it. He was trying to crack it. They have all these people that have been trying to crack it, figure out what it is. It's got some pictures of like weird plants that don't exist. There's some images, some drawings of like naked women in these green pools, sort of connected to each other, and sometimes the pools are blue and sometimes they're green, and it's all sorts of weird. 240 pages. Like, this isn't just like somebody doodling on a piece of paper, okay? And they used radiocarbon testing to determine that they believe it was written sometime around the 1400s, which adds to the mystery. People have been trying to figure out what is it, and of course, those who don't know, it was acquired. It's been floating around allegedly for the last 600 plus years, but it was acquired by a rare book dealer named Wilfred Voynich, thus the name, the Voynich manuscript. But it's crazy. And here's where it gets sort of interesting. We are finally, for the first time in well over 100 years, we're finally starting to have at least some better understanding. The theories that have prevailed so far is that it's a secret cipher. Yeah, that's a very common theory. Is that, oh, it's just a cipher. You just have to have the right decoder ring in order to understand it. And there's some that say that it was a completely invented language or a lost language, one or the other. Like, in other words, like Pig Latin, except that whoever it was that could read and write in this language, they're either all dead or they're like the dog from the old Bush Bean commercials. Yeah, he ain't telling anybody that secret. So a lot of people say it's just a hoax. The hoax part, that's the theory that I can buy. The others, I have a hard time thinking that somebody's going to spend enough time to meticulously. I mean, if you look at it, it's beautifully written. I mean, so it's like calligraphy, right? And to do this over 240 pages that we know of, some say there's some missing pages. It could have been closer to 300 total pages, but 240 pages that we know of, beautifully written, straight lines, and yet completely decodable, I guess is the right way to put it. There was a theory, it's unconfirmed, but there was allegedly a letter tucked into it that the original guy, Voynich, found that's attributed to a 13th century friar named Roger Bacon. That too, that's a legend. Nobody's actually seen this attribution. And then there's theories that it was done as not a hoax per se for no reason, but done to con some rich prince or king or who are they saying, the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II. He was really into alchemy and the occult, and somebody might have put it together to sort of convince him of something and get a lot of gold. All sorts of possibilities. What's changed, and this change has come very recently, obviously, is that now they're starting to put, you guessed it, artificial intelligence on the job. And some of the early revelations that came through these large language models that are trying to decode and decipher it, the most convincing one is that it's based upon a form of ancient Hebrew, but the characters are blended together. That's the calligraphy part, and they're mismatched. They're mishmashed, I guess is the right way to put it. In other words, they're scrambled, because otherwise it still doesn't quite fit. But, and here's the part where people say, oh, it's probably just gibberish. All the models, all the analyses point to that it's not gibberish. Statistically speaking, it does not appear to be written in a gibberish format. In other words, there seems to be very clear language, style, rhyme, and reason to the order of the language, or the order of the letters, quote unquote letters within this language, and everything else. Is there a hidden purpose to it? We don't know. But it's interesting, especially when you look at the pictures and you start to try to figure out what in the world were they thinking. I mean, somebody went through an awful lot of painstaking, handwritten effort in order to try to put this together. Now, does this have a greater meaning to life? Probably not. Is there anything special that could affect us today? Probably not. Which is why theories like these are the ones that I generally don't like to talk about. I wanted to talk about it today on today's show simply because I want those of you out there, maybe you're new to conspiracy theories, you can know that there are ones that are just interesting. They're just mysteries. There's nothing earth shattering about them, we don't think. There's nothing like truly evil or good or anywhere in between about them that we know of. They're just cool. I want people to be as interested as possible in the conspiracies, in trying to find the truth. And if the easiest way to get started on that is with a very basic conspiracy theory, then so be it. Again, not my cup of tea, but for some of you, this might be the entry drug into the world of conspiracy theories. We've got more important ones coming up right after the break here on the Wendy Bell radio program.
All right, there you have it. And this might be an interesting show, but here again, I miss Wendy. Hopefully she'll be back Monday. Maybe she'll even do a Weekends with Wendy on Sunday morning. That would be nice because, I kind of miss her style, her information. I think she provides a lot more information. This guy here is from Los Angeles, so his main focus is what's going on in California with the primaries this year, this week. I mean, that's what he's talked about most of the week. But I can't wait till Wendy gets back. All right, let's click on the Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Wendy Bell Radio. This is a video I shared with you. I'm giving her a thumbs up and following her channel. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here and let's copy these chats into a comment because as we all know, when the live stream is over, the live chat just kind of vaporizes into cyberspace. So now it's a permanent part of this video. Thank you again, Murphy's Law, for joining us. All right. Let me also remind you that these videos that I've shared with you are videos that come directly from the producer. I've got the link to the videos in the description box, as well as the link to the producer's channel in the description box, so you can go visit their channel and see if there's other information that you'd like to see. These videos that I have shared with you are videos that I've posted here on Mertech.com, where I have over 40 no-nonsense, common sense, logic and truth videos, the kind of information that you're not going to get on the mainstream media. Now, I'd like to share all of this information with you, but unfortunately, I just don't have the time to do so. But that's why I've put together my Mertech Daily News Wrap-Up playlist. It says I have 20 videos in here. We're going to start out with some information here from Benny Johnson. Caramello Anthony body cam bombshell shocks courtroom as murder witness testimony destroys defense. Okay, this is a 10-minute video. I'm going to start out with that because that's been the big thing here the last couple of days about this murder trial where this guy went into it was like a homecoming thing or something for a football team or something. I don't know exactly the whole story, but he stabbed the guy to death, a twin. His twin brother's alive, but murdered him, stabbed him to death. And of course, there was a Give, Send, Go, or one of those donation things open up, and they, collected like $900,000 or some shit for his defense. Of course, they bought a new house and a new car, and I'm sure he got his defense paid for by the taxpayers. But be interesting to see an update on this, Benny Johnson. All right, then we're going to take off where we left off with Wendy Bell Radio. Same thing with Dan Bongino. Then we have some X22 report information, We the People news, Steve Deace show, On the Fringe, And We Know, AP for Liberty, Barry Cunningham, a ton of information here, folks. But for right now, go ahead and take a break. Grab a cup of coffee and a donut or a sandwich and a soft drink or a beer, or maybe even a nice glass of wine and some cheese, and meet me back here in about 15 or 20 minutes. Get time to set this up in Rumble Studio. So for the meantime, I do want to thank you for being here. Hopefully, I will get to see you again later, and may God bless.